Hey, everybody. Ready to get a little bit smarter about love in the age of Tinder and all that?
Mm-hmm.
We are diving deep into modern romance.
Yeah.
That's the book by Aziz Ansari.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you, this book really opened my eyes to a lot of things.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. I mean, he's a comedian,
Right.
but
He's funny,
yeah, he's funny.
but he's also insightful.
But he actually teamed up with a sociologist.
Right.
So they really dug deep and really dissected how
Yeah.
technology and culture really changed dating and relationships.
It's crazy how much it's changed.
I know. It's wild. So get ready to unlock some serious relationship wisdom.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have some fun, too.
And maybe have a few laughs along the way.
Absolutely.
What I really loved is that Ansari, he didn't just go off of his own comedic experiences.
Right.
He really had this sociologist do all this research. I mean, they interviewed so many different people.
Yeah.
They looked at data,
Tons of data.
and they were really trying to figure out all the things that are shaping relationships these days.
All the forces at play.
Yeah, are we really better off with all these unlimited choices that we have online?
Right.
How has texting changed the whole dating game?
I know.
And then what's going on in other parts of the world, and
Yeah.
how are people
How do they do it?
finding love and doing all that stuff?
Totally different ballgame sometimes.
Totally different. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Our parents' generation.
Oh, my gosh.
Their stories. I remember them talking about meeting at the local soda shop.
Oh, totally.
Or getting set up by friends.
Like the good old days.
Right.
Yeah.
It all just seems so
Quaint. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost old-fashioned. I mean, the book opens with this really cool comparison
Yeah.
of, dating then versus now.
Then and now.
Then and now.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
Uh-huh.
communities were so much more tight-knit.
Smaller dating pool.
Yeah. And marriage was just expected.
Right.
It
It was just what you did.
It was just what you did. And
Yeah.
now it's
Now it's like emerging adulthood.
emerging adulthood.
Everyone's figuring themselves out.
Right.
Traveling.
Focusing on their career.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Taking their sweet time
Yeah.
before settling down.
It really is living in two completely different
Romantic universe.
romantic universes.
Totally.
And speaking of different universes,
Yeah.
let's talk about texting.
Oh, the texting.
Oh, the texting.
Oh, my gosh.
Have you ever agonized over crafting the perfect text?
All the time.
Or completely overanalyzed a response?
Oh, yeah.
Or the lack of a response? Especially the lack of response.
I know.
What does that mean?
I know.
Yeah.
It's like a whole...
It's a whole language.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole language.
You got to decode the emojis.
I know.
It's a lot.
And the book dives into all the anxieties,
All those little anxieties.
the etiquette,
Right.
or maybe lack of etiquette.
Yeah, well, lack of etiquette.
That comes with texting.
Yeah.
From the very first line,
That opening line.
the opening line
So crucial.
to decoding all those emojis.
Right. What does that eggplant emoji really mean?
I know.
We need a whole dictionary for this stuff.
We do. And here's a crazy stat.
Okay.
Okay. So the book
Hit me.
cites a Match.com survey,
Okay.
okay, showing that younger generations, they overwhelmingly prefer texting to phone calls.
I believe it.
I mean, remember when phone calls were
Yeah.
the gold standard?
Back in the day, a phone call was this was a big deal.
A date.
I know.
You're really putting yourself out there.
I know. And now it's a phone call.
Now a phone call is a therapy session.
In the early stages of dating.
Yeah. Too much.
Yeah.
Way too much pressure.
It's like a job interview.
Exactly. It's terrifying.
I know.
Yeah.
But speaking of pressure,
Okay.
Ansari shares some truly hilarious
Oh, yeah.
anecdotes about terrible opening texts, really bad, cringeworthy bad.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah.
Give me some examples.
I know. They're so bad.
Yeah.
But,
But they make a point.
but they make a really good point,
Yeah.
which is in the digital age, those initial messages,
They matter.
they really, really matter.
Mm.
They shape first impressions,
Right.
and they can make or break
Yeah.
a potential connection.
It's true.
So it makes you think.
Yeah, it does.
How are your texting habits
Mm-hmm.
impacting your dating life?
Big question.
Big question.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads us to the next big topic,
Okay.
Online dating.
The big one.
The big one.
The elephant in the room.
Has it made finding love easier
Yeah.
or harder?
Or harder.
The book really doesn't shy away from exploring both sides.
No, it does.
Both the pros and the cons.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah. And one of the most fascinating things I think that the book highlights is the sheer volume of choices.
Oh, the choices.
It is like walking into
Too many choices.
a giant supermarket
Right.
with like endless aisles of potential partners.
Yeah, you just don't know where to look.
I know. It can be exciting
It can be at first.
at first, but
Yeah.
it can quickly become,
Overwhelming.
yeah,
Totally.
like totally overwhelming.
And the book uses these two contrasting case studies,
Yeah.
Arpin and Dinesh,
Oh, okay.
to illustrate this.
Okay.
Okay, so tell me about these guys.
All right. So Arpin.
Spent hours and hours
Mm-hmm.
swiping,
Oh,
messaging,
yeah.
doing all the things.
Right.
And he just ended up feeling
What?
jaded
Yeah.
by the whole experience.
I can imagine.
It just became exhausting for him.
Yeah.
Now, Dinesh, on the other hand,
Okay.
he had more success
Ow. What did he do?
by focusing on
Okay.
in-person interactions
Okay.
and building connections in real-world social settings.
Okay. So he like ended.
Out there.
He was out there.
Meeting
Oh,
people,
that-
having conversations.
Putting himself out there. So is online dating a blessing or a curse?
It's the question of our time.
I feel like it could go either way.
It could.
You know,
It really depends.
it depends on, your personality,
Yeah,
your preferences,
what you're looking for.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
The book dives into this whole idea of choice overload,
Oh, yeah, choice overload.
which is like a real thing.
It's a real psychological phenomenon.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed by all those profiles on Tinder?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you're constantly swiping,
You're just swiping,
but never really connecting.
never really clicking with anyone.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point?
And then you start second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
Like, what if there's someone better?
Right.
Just swipe away.
The upgrade problem.
That's it.
The fear of missing out.
That's the upgrade problem.
That there's someone better out there.
The fear of missing out.
And it can make it really hard to commit.
Even if you found someone great.
Even if you found someone amazing.
That's so interesting.
Right.
The book mentions some research by Barry Schwartz,
Oh, yeah.
who found that having more options often leads to less satisfaction.
Isn't that crazy?
I know, like it's counterintuitive.
It really is.
But it's true.
But it makes sense when you think about it.
I know.
You're always wondering,
I know.
what if there's something better out there?
What if?
Yeah.
But isn't there also a downside to having too few choices?
That's a good point.
Like, what about people who live in small towns?
Right.
Where, the dating pool is limited.
Yeah.
Don't they sometimes feel pressure to settle?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The book talks about that, too.
Okay.
Dating in small towns.
Yeah.
It's a different experience.
It's a different experience.
Yeah. People might settle down more quickly,
Right.
but it doesn't necessarily mean they're happier.
Right.
They might face different challenges like
what?
like feeling stuck
Stuck
or lacking options if the relationship doesn't work out.
Right, you're in a fishbowl.
You're in fishbowl.
Yeah.
It seems like finding the right balance is key.
Balance is everything.
Too many choices,
Leads to overwhelm, indecision,
but too few choices.
leads to settling, feeling trapped.
It's about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah. Where you have enough options
Right.
to feel empowered,
Empowered but not overwhelmed.
but not so many that you're paralyzed.
Paralyzed by choice.
By indecision.
Exactly.
And this whole idea of choice, it really makes you think about how our expectations have changed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Our expectations of love, relationships,
About love and relationships.
everything.
Yeah.
It's all shifted.
We're living in a world where we have
More freedom, more choices
more freedom and more choices than ever before.
than ever before.
Which,
It can be amazing.
but it also comes with challenges.
Yeah.
New set of challenges.
And speaking of different choices and different perspectives,
Yes.
Ansari actually, he takes his investigation global.
He does.
He goes around the world.
He goes global.
He explores dating and relationships in places like Japan,
Argentina.
Argentina.
France.
He's all over the place.
I know. He doesn't just stick to
The American dating scene.
the American dating scene.
No.
This part of the book was fascinating.
Oh, so fast.
Because it really highlighted how cultural norms and societal expectations like shape our experiences.
You really do.
Self-love.
It's so interesting how different cultures view love and relationships.
His observations about Japan were so interesting.
Weren't they?
I mean, he found that like young people there are like increasingly losing interest in sex and relationships.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
I know.
Why do you think that is?
It's wild. And he even coined the term
What's the term?
herbivore man.
Herbivore man.
To describe this phenomenon.
Interesting. What makes a culture become like that?
Well, I mean, it's complex, but he points to like factors like economic pressures, changing gender roles, you know, and a growing emphasis on like
individual fulfillment.
Individual fulfillment.
Interesting.
It's a far cry from like the passionate dating culture that he encountered in Argentina.
Right, where the men are like expected to be super persistent.
Yeah, where men are expected to be like super persistent.
Yeah.
You know, in their pursuit of women.
Almost aggressive.
Yeah, he uses the term chango to describe like the casual relationships that are common in Buenos Aires.
I've never heard that term before.
Right.
That's a new one.
This made me think about like dating norms in, you know, my own culture.
Right.
Like, is being super persistent seen as
romantic
or creepy? Or creepy. It's a fine line. I know. It probably depends on the context, the individuals involved.
And who you ask.
Right. But it's interesting to consider, like, how those cultural scripts influence, like, our perceptions and our behaviors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like we're all playing by different rules.
Right.
Sometimes without even realizing it.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
It is. It's fascinating, isn't it? How these cultural norms can really shape what's considered normal or even like desirable in a relationship.
Yeah.
But no matter where you are in the world, technology has like undoubtedly changed the game.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to love.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to those age-old like relationship issues like cheating, snooping, and even like breaking up.
Oh, absolutely.
The book dives into how technology has like amplified some of those classic relationship dilemmas.
Yeah, it's like social media and smartphones have created like a whole new playing field for infidelity.
Right. It's easier than ever to connect with people.
Yeah.
Outside of your relationship.
Outside of your relationship, yeah.
And it's also like easier to get caught.
Easier to get caught.
Right. The book talks about how social media has made it easier for people to engage in like covert affairs. But it's also made it easier for like suspicious partners to snoop.
Oh, yeah.
And monitor like their significant other's online activity.
Right.
It's a double-edged sword.
Totally.
You know.
And then there's the whole phenomenon of breaking up.
Oh, breaking up.
In the digital age.
In the digital age, yeah.
Have you ever been dumped via text or social media?
I haven't, personally.
Oh, I haven't personally.
But I've heard the stories.
I've heard some brutal stories.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
definitely become more common.
It's become way more common.
And it raises all these questions about, like, how we handle difficult conversations in the digital age.
Right.
You know? Well, some people might, like, appreciate the efficiency and directness of, like, a digital breakup.
Yeah.
It often leaves the other person feeling, like, totally blindsided and hurt.
Yeah, like there's a lack of closure or, like, a sense that the relationship wasn't valued enough to warrant a conversation.
Right, exactly.
An in-person conversation.
Like you weren't worth, you know, an actual, like, face-to-face, heart-to-heart.
It's like you're not even a real person.
Right, exactly.
You're just like...
the text message.
On text message, yeah. And even if you do have, like, that difficult conversation in person, you know, technology can still make it hard to move on.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you're constantly bombarded with reminders. Of your ex.
Yeah, everywhere you look.
On social media.
You
see their photos.
Their updates, their new relationships.
Your updates, their new relationship. It's like
they're haunting you.
It's like they're haunting you.
Digitally.
A digital ghost.
Yeah.
I can totally see how that would make it hard to, like, heal.
Oh, yeah.
And move on.
Absolutely. It's like you're constantly being pulled back.
Pulled back in.
Into the past.
Yeah. Pulled back into the past.
And speaking of moving on, Ansari eventually shifts gears to focus on settling down.
Okay.
And finding lasting love.
Okay, yeah.
And what's interesting here is that he doesn't present settling down as, like, this magical fairy tale ending.
Yeah.
he gets really honest about his own journey.
Yeah.
From being like a serial dater to someone who starts yearning for a deeper, more meaningful.
More meaningful, yeah.
Yeah.
He talks about how he used to get exhausted by, like, the whole long-distance relationship thing. It's almost like he hit a point where, like, the thrill of the chase just wasn't cutting it anymore.
Right.
He wanted something, like, more substantial. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you think about what we're all really looking for in a relationship.
Yeah, what are we looking for? What are we doing this for?
What's the point of all this?
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's a sentiment, I think, that resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially as they get older.
Yeah, you get to a certain age.
You get to a certain age, and that initial excitement of, like, new relationships, it starts to fade. And you begin to crave that sense of stability and shared experiences. That comes with, like, building a life with someone.
Right, building a life together.
But even when you are ready to settle down, the modern dating world throws some pretty unique curveballs.
Oh, it does.
Ansari revisits the upgrade problem.
Oh, yeah.
That nagging feeling that there might be someone better out there.
The upgrade problem is real.
It's real.
You're always second-guessing yourself.
Always.
Like, have I settled?
Right. Am I missing out?
Am I missing out? Should I keep working?
Should I keep swiping?
Can I keep swiping?
Is there a perfect match out there?
Is there a perfect match out there? And social media.
Ugh. Don't even get me started on social media.
Doesn't help.
It's like a highlight reel.
I know.
Of, like, seemingly perfect couples.
Perfect couples and relationships.
And relationships.
You can't compare. You can't compare.
But we do. But we do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in that comparison game.
Yeah.
And start feeling like your own relationship falls short.
I know. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, absolutely.
It's hard not to, like, compare yourself to those picture-perfect Instagram couples.
Oh, yeah.
Even though, you know, it's just a curated snapshot.
It's a highlight reel.
A highlight reel, yeah.
Yeah.
But Ansari also talks about the different types of love.
Oh, this is good.
That we experience in relationships.
Tell me more.
Which I found really insightful.
I love this part of the book.
He talks about passionate love versus companionate love.
Yes.
And how relationships often start with that, like intense, all-consuming passion.
The fireworks.
The fireworks.
The butterflies.
But then they kind of, like, evolve.
They do.
Into, like, a deeper,
more stable form of...
More mature over time. Right. It's like that initial spark eventually transforms into, like, a warm, glowing ember.
Glowing ember.
That can sustain a relationship for the long haul.
So do you think most people are looking for that passionate love? Or do you think they're ultimately seeking that?
The companionate love.
Companionate love.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it varies from person to person.
Yeah, and maybe even...
stage
to stage.
Stage to stage in life.
In life, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think there's something really beautiful about that idea of companionate love. That, like, deep connection, shared history.
That shared history.
Unwavering support.
We've been through it all together.
That you build with someone over time.
That's the good stuff.
I know, I agree.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that even with that companionate love, modern monogamy presents its own set of challenges.
It's not all sunshine and roses.
No, it's not.
Ansari touches on the rise of, like, open relationships.
Yeah.
And alternative relationship models. Where couples are trying to redefine, like, commitment and intimacy in a way that works for them.
In a way that works for them.
Yeah.
That's definitely a shift.
It is a shift.
From the traditional view of monogamy. Yeah. Do you think these alternative models are becoming more accepted?
I think so. It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's definitely, like, more openness to exploring different
relationship structures.
Yeah. It's not just monogamy that's being redefined.
Ansari even questions the whole institution of marriage.
Oh, wow.
Pointing out, like, the declining marriage rates.
Right.
And the fact that, you know, people are choosing to
stay single or pursue, like, alternative lifestyle. Yeah.
It's almost like the whole happily ever after narrative
happily ever after,
is being rewritten.
And
people are creating their own definitions of what a successful, fulfilling relationship
looks like.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even with all these different
Yeah.
paths and choices.
Paths and choices, yeah.
Ansari ultimately lands on a message of hope.
Okay. Yeah.
He emphasizes the beauty of companionate love.
Companionate love. Mm-hmm.
And the importance of choosing to, like, commit.
Commit and nurture a connection.
Nurture connection, yeah. It's really refreshing to hear someone, talk about commitment and connection in a way that feels like both realistic and hopeful.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about finding that, like, mythical, perfect person.
Yeah, the unicorn.
The unicorn. The perfect partner.
Yeah, but it's about, like...
It's about the journey.
Choosing to build a life with someone.
Yeah.
And, like, appreciating their unique qualities.
Absolutely.
Even if they don't fit. Like, some idealized notion of a soulmate.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that relationships take work. Effort.
Mm-hmm.
And a willingness to, like, grow and evolve together.
And
sometimes it's about choosing to stay when things get tough. Instead of always looking for, like, an escape route.
Right. It makes you think about those classic, like, romantic comedies.
Oh, the rom-coms.
Where everything always works out perfectly in the end.
Yeah, that's not real life.
I know, right?
Real life is messy.
Real life is so much messier.
It's so complicated.
More complicated.
Yeah.
But I do think there's something to be said for, like, choosing to believe in the possibility of lasting love.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't always look like,
the fairy tales.
The fairy tales.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to that, like, crucial shift in mindset that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, like, what is that shift?
Maybe lasting happiness in relationship isn't about finding the perfect person.
Right.
But about approaching love with the sense of, like, intentionality, appreciation, and a healthy dose of humor.
A healthy dose of humor, yeah.
You gotta be able to laugh at the craziness.
You gotta be able to laugh. It's like choosing to see the good in your partner, even when they're driving you crazy.
Driving you up the wall.
Yeah.
Exactly. And recognizing that. Like, those imperfections are part of what makes them...
It makes them
unique and lovable.
Lovable, yeah.
It's not about settling.
It's not about settling.
But it's about choosing to, like, embrace the whole package.
Embrace the whole package.
The good, the bad, the quirky.
Yeah, all of it.
All of it.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive...
into modern romance. What are some of the, like, key takeaways that our listeners can, apply to their own dating journey?
I think one of the biggest takeaways is that there's no, like, one-size-fits-all approach to love and relationships.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
It's about finding, like, what resonates with you, what aligns with your values, and what ultimately, like, brings you happiness. Fulfillment. Yeah, it's like giving yourself permission to write your own love story.
Write your own love story.
Instead of trying to follow someone else's script.
Exactly, because your love story might have, like, unexpected twists and turns.
Twists and turns.
Moments of, like, joy and heartbreak.
Joy and heartbreak, yeah.
And everything in between.
The whole spectrum.
The whole spectrum of human emotion.
Yeah.
It's about embracing
the
whole messy, beautiful journey.
That's beautiful.
It is.
I think that's a perfect note to end on to all our listeners out there, who are navigating the ups and downs of modern love.
Modern love, yeah.
Remember, you're not alone.
You're not alone.
There's a whole community of people. Out there going through similar experiences.
Figuring it out as they go.
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
And hopefully finding a little bit of, joy and connection along the way. And if you're feeling lost or discouraged, modern romance
offers a fresh perspective.
It's
valuable insight.
Yeah, and maybe even a few laughs to help you along the way.
Absolutely.
It's a fun read. So go out there, embrace the adventure of modern love.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to, like, write your own rules.
Write your own rules, yeah.
And hey, if you have any, like, crazy dating stories.
Oh, we want to hear them.
Or, like, modern romance revelations. Yeah, share them with us. On social media. We love hearing from you guys. Yeah. Until next time. Happy dating, everybody.